have been seeing a lot of videos from pastors talking about the mark of the beast. So I am going to share some of the stuff that I've been researching myself, reading Revelation, and the way I've been interpreting the mark of the beast. And I'm going to start with this post I made on Facebook. Revelation, the beast of the sea is the United Nations. The beast of the land is 70 nations, Israel. The whore of Babylon is all of the religions and churches that are profiting off the Bible, the living word of God, under government control. While you've signed a contract with the government and you're making money and making a good living from the Bible, reading that to people, sharing it with people, just a church collecting a lot of money. And they're not using it in the right ways. They're not using it to help widows and children, and they're just using it for themselves. They've become greedy. And the Antichrist is Yeshua. That's the Jewish Messiah. The Jewish Messiah, there's a lot of different spellings. Yahashua is not Jesus Christ. The mark of the beast starts out as a covenant, and then it turns more into 3.5 years. I think what's going on right now in the world is they're just putting out a lot of information that the whole world has gone satanic. And you can just see it by everything that's going on. That all the pedophile stuff that they're pushing, the Wayfair stuff, a lot of it's coming from a source called QAnon, which I believe is Peter Thiel, who owns and operates Palantir, who's going to be tracking the COVID virus. But let's just start right here. Pay attention to what's going on in Israel, and I spelled that wrong, not what they are trying to distract us with. The reason why this is important is because we will be required to make a covenant to Lucifer. So if you remember in Revelations, there's 3 different ways you can take the mark of the beast. You can take it on your head and hand, or you can do it with just worshiping him, and I believe making a covenant. Okay, so here is Donald Trump with his vision for peace. He has come up with a vision for peace. And in this picture, it says, U.S. President Donald Trump participates in an expanded bilateral meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, January 27th, 2020, in the Oval Office of the White House. Okay, here is Mike Pompeo. Mike Pompeo has been going around doing this peace tour. So here he is meeting with the Pope. And I can't help but look at this picture behind the Pope. So let's blow this up and take a closer look at what this is. I'm assuming that's Jesus with the hips. Is that... okay, I can't with the Pope. Masters of Deception. So if you are awake, you should know who the real terrorists were behind the Twin Tower attacks. Here is the Pope kissing the hand of a Jewish rabbi. Noahide laws, Torah and end times deception. So right now, the Torah is being heavily pushed. Follow the Torah, follow the Torah, follow the Torah. But what that leaves out is Jesus Christ. And they've also switched his name to Yeshua. Follow the Torah, and it is Yeshua. There's a huge deception, Messianic Jews or Hebrew roots. And it's just not biblical. It's actually Luciferian if you follow that. And you're basically blotting out all of Jesus's works out of the Bible, everything that he did for us. If you want to follow Noah and Moses, in the end, you're literally not following Jesus. If they did it right when they were trying to teach people the laws, then Jesus wouldn't have had to come back and had his life sacrificed on the cross. They were doing it wrong, and that's why he came back to save all of us. So, if you know anything about Masons, Albert McKee, and in his Lexicon of Freemasonry, page 324, said, Noachites, the descendants of Noah, a term applied to Freemasons, Noah having alone preserved the true name and worship of God amid race of impious idolaters. Freemasons claim to be his descendants. This was a concert that they had in Israel recently. Looked very New World Order on the right of the screen. The Beast and the End Times, United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Sea. Tells you they're the beast of the sea. The beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Beware of false teachers. So right now, I've noticed like every single pastor, every single one of them is false, and there's different ways to be able to tell. First of all, the earth is flat and motionless according to the Bible. The earth doesn't move. And the preachers, pastors, false teachers, false prophets all go along with the world view of everything, of absolutely everything. They follow the world. They all sign a contract with the government, and they all have to preach pretty much the same thing. Okay. The golden cup is full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. In Egypt, priests would consecrate round, thin cakes, which were supposed to be the flesh of Osiris. The roundness of the cake symbolized the sun, which fitted well, as Osiris was their sun deity. The pattern given intact round wafers and stems from these pagans, not from Christ. The harlot of Revelation, it is the church. It's not just people think it's just the Catholic Church. It's all of them. Know that. It's all of them. It's the apostolic Christian church. It is every single one of them. The Mormons, the Pentecostal, Lutherans, Catholics. What are some religions? Jehovah's Witness, all of them, every single one, coexist. The role of religion in society and humanitarian action. See, we can't do that. Muslims too. Certain religions worship Satan. Well, pretty much all of them have become Luciferian. It all began in Babylon. Religions, doctrines of men. Yes, every religion, none of them follow the Bible exactly. They've all interpreted it in their own way. Thanksgiving, New Year's, Christmas tree, Easter, communion, worship of Mary, Lent, Trinity, Halloween, Valentine's Day, the title Lord Ball, the cross, Sunday worship, infant baptism, Good Friday, with Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Okay, so yeah, those things like religion and holidays, they pretty much come from pagan roots. And the doctrines of men is true, because if you go into a church, they all have their own doctrines. Anyway, if you celebrate these holidays, it's okay. Just know that you're celebrating something pagan, and that's not what you're going to be judged on, because the Bible says that we're not going to be judged on what we eat, drink, what day we worship on. We're not going to be judged by the Sabbath. We're not going to be judged on whether or not we're a vegetarian, whether or not we eat meat, and there's a huge agenda for that. We're not going to be judged on which holiday we celebrate. You can look it all up. It's fine. You don't have to go back to the Torah and celebrate those feasts either. And the reason why you don't have to do that is because when Jesus came back, he set us all free. He set us all free so we didn't have to do certain things. They actually are called to sacrifice a perfect lamb on one of their holidays. And it needs to be like a perfect lamb. Can you do that? Can you celebrate the feast the way that was commanded by God? No. Jesus came to set us free. Those laws no longer exist. Moses and Noah's, those laws no longer exist. What we're going to be judged on now is the fruit of the Spirit. So joy, peace, love, happiness. And if you are part of the fruits of the Spirit, if the fruits of the Spirit are inside you, if you're a fruitful person, that's what Jesus taught us. Jesus taught us to be fruit, to be fruit. And if you have those characteristics, you're following the 10 Commandments anyway. You're loving your neighbor, you're loving your parents, you're following all of those just by having the fruits of the Spirit. But that's what we're going to be judged on. And the Jewish community and the Hebrew roots community would like you to think that you're only going to be judged on the first part of the Bible, the Torah, the Old Testament. You're going to be judged on those things. Do we sacrifice our children? No. Look at the Old Testament. Look at some of the things they did in there. We don't do that anymore. So let's look at this. So basically, Donald Trump and his his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, are working on this peace plan with Israel. Jared and Benjamin Netanyahu go way back. They have a relationship. And you need to research deeper in the Bible what God said about Israel, what he actually said about him, and what the tribe of Judah did. Okay, so here's part 1. I'm gonna stop this and then come back with another post. Important. Trump signed an executive order to fast-track flu vaccines in the event of a pandemic on September in 2019. So, look at this. Look how many times this document says pandemic, 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 pandemic. So this was signed September 19th, 2019, and it is to create a new flu vaccine, fast track a flu vaccine in the event of a pandemic. Look at all the jobs it created. DOD, Department of Justice, Department of Agriculture, Department of Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, FDA, CDC, NIH, CMS, BARDA. He created a whole task force. He created a task force to fast-track a vaccine before there was a pandemic. But look how many times he says pandemic. In advance of a pandemic, in order to be able to ensure adequate domestic pandemic manufacturing capacity and capability. So that would be a fun drinking game. Read this and drink every time it says pandemic. Look at novel technologies. Remember, it's the novel coronavirus. White House, Donald J. Trump, September 19th, 2019. It's time to realize that no president is going to save us and no man is going to save us. And we need to stand up to the hoax and the lie. Take the masks off. They don't work anyway. You're getting a Facebook tour. A Facebook tour right now. Here's something that's important. Donald Trump replaced CDC's COVID-19 reporting with Palantir, a seedy Silicon Valley company ran by Peter Thiel. JP Morgan and Chase hired him, and this is what he did for them. He traced their employees' emails, photos, videos, browser history, GPS locations on all their company issued phones, printer and download activities, badge and time patterns, recorded their phone conversations, so people could search and sort and analyze their records and like literally pull them up on a screen and have all of my neighbor's kids are outside playing. Can you hear them? They would have all of this information about their employees right at their fingertips. And the NSA loved it, so they hired him, and they were backed by the CIA to start In-Q-Tel. Think of the letter Q, and what does that tell you? So it made me wonder, is he behind QAnon? Is this where we're getting all of our information? Is this how we're figuring out who all the Hollywood and elite pedophiles are? This In-Q-Tel? And it definitely seems biased towards, one side, and this Peter Thiel loves Donald Trump because he has an $800 million contract with the government already, and he's about to get more. He's invested in companies like LinkedIn, Spotify, Musk's rocket ship, SpaceX, Airbnb. He works with Google, drones, military, facial recognition, weapons, cryogenic. He, name a tech company, and he's either a part of it or he's, sued them or bankrupted them. And if you know anything about Snowden, he was totally involved in all of that. Snowden was the whistleblower. So he's saying, Google has been selling our information, but you can bet if Google is harvesting our information, he probably got the software from Peter Thiel. Anyway, now he also tracked the war on terror. He tracks the missing and exploited children's database. He was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm outside because I thought it'd be quieter out here to make this video. Hopefully the sound is okay. So now that he's going to be handling COVID, the government is going to want to control you, distract you, divide you, separate you, track you, trace you, social distance you, test you, monitor you, conquer you, surveillance you, vaccinate you, and medicate you. They're trying to use COVID to police and monitor our health, take away our kids, make our loved ones die all alone, treat everyone like a deadly disease. And what happens when people are afraid to touch each other? What happens when there's a species that no longer touches each other? They die. They die off. They don't create new life. He created a program called Operation Laser where they profiled crimes, and the cops, if they would go look for people making the simplest mistakes, even jaywalking, and arrest those people or give them tickets to keep them broken down. And if they couldn't find a reason to arrest them, they would document everything that the person was doing and put it in the system that everybody could just easily get to. You didn't have to have extra special access or be at a certain level. You could just get to it. Oh, and the relationship with the Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, he did blood stuff. He infused himself with young blood. So I would like to know, where are they getting this young blood that they're infusing themselves with? The man is literally obsessed with staying young. And he was the trendsetter behind the New Zealand's role in Silicon Valley's doomsday bunkers. He's obsessed with Lord of the Rings. You guys can read this on your own if you want, but this is the man that Donald Trump hired to track all of us with the COVID, for the COVID-19 hoax that no one is dying of, that 99.7, okay, so some people, but it's this year's flu, pneumonia, cold, whatever, people that have weak immune systems, or people that just can't take the 5G are dying from it. Research 5G. Anyway, they're creating a quantum digital brain, genetically enhancing bugs, creating humanoids, clones, drones, and they're going to take us over through a network. The network, your computer, your apps, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and it promotes atheism and communism. Facial recognition, voice recognition, fingerprints, they're all biometric tools that are creating a virtual prison. We can't hide our identity anymore. It's not good to hide your identity and troll people, but some people just want to keep their privacy, and we're not going to have any privacy. We have smart cities and smart homes. They're creating automated vehicles, and society is becoming so weak-minded. They're easily corrupted, and they believe lies easily through media, or even like hive mind mentality. They see celebrities were never created to entertain us. Celebrities, TV, television, movies, it was all designed to program our minds. Now think about the movies. Think about every single movie has a globe in it. It's all mind control. The commercials, it's to control your mind. This is a colonized AI invasion from numerous and multi-dimensional layers, and it's being created by multiple companies interconnected through demonic inspiration. Demonic AI, Satan, knows we want to be touched and loved, and he also knows that people are beautiful and we need to see expression on each other's face, and that's why he wants us hiding underneath a mask, not because he cares about our health. And the government is working for Satan. The government is Satan's tentacles right now. Scientists have been promoting enlightenment and the false light of Lucifer for years, but they don't want to give you that. They want to download it to you, so you will become a program void of any free will. You're literally going to give your soul away. They created technology so powerful that it creates confusion in humans, even gender identity. Do you guys know that Kindergarten Cop was banned because it says boys have penises and girls have vaginas? That's what this world has become. They use media, education, and Hollywood to make things acceptable that are satanic. We no longer know our divine purpose, and we're becoming obedient monkeys. Just like they told us we came from monkeys, that's what we're becoming. Monkeys, zombies, sheep. I don't really like using sheep because it's used in the Bible in a good way. So summing this up, one billionaire, this one that Trump is like shaking his hand in an odd kind of Masonic 33rd degree way. It's massively mined data from Facebook, Google, email, like you name it. It has put its dirty paws in it and mined the data from it. That's why they hate TikTok. They hate TikTok because basically China is doing the same thing. TikTok is so dangerous. They are taking your image and your voice when you use your voice on it, and they're storing it. And your image could be used on another person. And if you don't believe me, just go to the filters in Snapchat, and you can use someone else's image, and you can talk with their image over your face. This company is CIA backed and linked to almost every tech company out there. It was a huge spider web. Like, it took me so long to write this post, so long, and I'm glad it had the views and the shares that it had, because like I felt like I went down a web in a rabbit hole that I was never going to get out of. Companies like Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok were never made to entertain us. They were created to store our faces and harvest our biometrical data and reprogram us with groupthink. So it kind of made me want to delete my social media and smash my electronic devices, but then I wouldn't have this post out here, would I? These are black mirrors, they're devil's tools, and they're nothing more than the modern day apples. The Apple logo is there for a reason. The first computer adds up to 666. And the very first computer sold for $666. It's definitely a tool of the devil. There's just too much evidence. People are getting to the point where they're going to be able to download their digital identity into this computer and always be there. I could make a video right now and I could pass away and you could always go back and watch my video, but no, they want to take it beyond that and download your consciousness into this computer. And the computer's called the Beast, and everyone's number will start with 666 because supposedly the number of man is 666. Your neutrons, protons, and atoms or whatever equals 666. Anyway, so let's look at some of these pictures. Peter Thiel pledged $1.25 million to support Donald Trump. Here, all of these things, like these contract vehicles and stuff, this is all stuff that Peter Thiel is into. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. They want to get rid of teachers and teach people by machines. And they've already proven that with Facebook. Like, if everybody's saying, wear your mask and posting the same picture, of them in a mask, then other people post pictures of themselves. And, it's just become a huge, this person does it and I think they're cool, so I'm going to do it. Public health, medical supply chain, responding to COVID-19, pharma. These are all billionaires creating order out of chaos. He has some creepy names. Right here, his technology has been used for Chinese spyware, CDC, police departments, JP Morgan, Home Depot. Anyway, you guys can look at this stuff. You can pause it if you need to. Facial recognition systems, new digital ID. All those seeking to regain freedom that enjoyed prior to the onset of coronavirus would need to get a vaccination and receive a passport of sorts. That's what the digital ID will do. COVID and immunity passports. Like, why do you think Bill Gates is involved with the coronavirus? Here's the Jerusalem Post where they're saying that if you get vaccinated, we're going to need to figure it out by either scanning your face or palm because we don't want to pass around the virus. Scanning your face and palm, that should be cause for concern. Look at Palantir's government contracts, $800 million. They almost have $1 billion in just government contracts. That's just the government. That's not all the other contracts that they have. And look at them. This is everything that they get into, everything that they have access to. They literally have access to everything. LinkedIn, PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX. It's all a giant web. And if I remember right, this is the computer. This whole building right here on the left is the computer called the Beast. But I didn't caption it because I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure it is. It's huge. Okay. all these people are connected with cryonics. Cutting off, how does that work? You cut off your head, you freeze yourself. It's just weird, it's creepy. Like storing yourself forever until they can revive you. You should watch a video on it, cryonics. Here's the front of the doomsday shelter that they're building. Why are they suddenly building all these doomsday shelters? And so here's the thing, the WikiLeaks on the right, that's a QAnon thing, and I really think this, if anyone can harvest that kind of information and get Hillary's emails, it's that guy right there, Peter Thiel. David Rockefeller, all we need is the right major crisis and the nations will accept the New World Order. And David Rockefeller wrote the lockstep documents and talked about putting everybody in masks, talked about a pandemic. More Hillary, and Hillary's definitely involved in Pizzagate. Pizzagate is real. She is being exposed, and as hard as it may be to believe, there's a video out there, and it is pretty horrific. And there's actually a couple videos out there, and 6 out of 8 cops that watched the videos are dead. So, something to think about. That's me. The new abnormal. So here's some stuff that you should Google. Patent 2020-060606, Document 300, Seaborn, Carver plus Shock, Clade X. Look up SAR, specific absorption rate. It's all about the toxins that come from radiation, that come from the cell phone towers. Global ID 2020. Let's look and see what these... Oh, just like all the... They keep testing people because they want people to test positive. They want to scare us and make people think that it's a big hoax. But here's the most important thing, because this is what the church isn't telling you. The mask. The mask is 1 letter off from mark. And it's a soft mark. Like, if you're willing to put a mask on your face, or you feel like if you're scared of a virus and you're going to wear a mask because they told you to, and you're not going to research the fact that the mask doesn't even work, then you're falling for this New World Order propaganda. Are you guys going to obey and wear the mask of the beast? Do you think 2020 is bad? Keep complying to this stupidity and just wait to see what happens next. If you haven't researched the numbers of this lie, made the phone calls, or got involved, I'd say it's time to defend your God-given right to breathe. Let's see. The vaccine is a biometric vaccine. Your body will become a virtual prison. Masks should be a choice if you're afraid of the virus. I just don't feel like this is what I wanted to show you guys. But anyway, like, here's the mask. No mask, no service. This is on the left. It's inside of the beast computer system. That's what it looks like. Another good thing to research would be CERN. CERN is so demonic. It's like literally trying to get Satan to come back. 5G is a war on oxygen, a war on iodine, a war on iron, a war on hemoglobin, and a war on the central nervous system that will cause illness, and it will be blamed on a fake virus just to force vaccines. Okay, so these are all mask memes. Wearing a mask signals one of two things. I've been manipulated to live in irrational fear, or I'm willing to be controlled by a socialist agenda. This is good on the beast system. I like how it breaks it down with technology. Like, research all of this. There's so much time to research this now. All of this stuff that people used to do are closed. Who wants to watch a movie? They're all satanic. But research 5G, HARP, Bluebeam, CERN, AI, CRISPR, research CRISPR too. All of this stuff. Codex, GMO, fluoride, chemtrails, vaccines, Georgia Guidestones, those are really important. The brotherhoods, research the brotherhoods. Research false flags. Hopefully you had a chance to look at all of this. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out his desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, refusing to uphold the truth because there's no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language because he's a liar and father of lies. Look in the Bible. Look up Synagogue of Satan. Okay. I don't think that's the post. Okay, here's the Rockefellers on lockstep. A world of a tighter top-down government control, more authoritarian leadership with limited, innovative, and growing citizen pushback. In a world in which highly coordinated and successful strategies are addressing both urgent and entrenched worldwide issues. Hack attack, an economically unstable and shock-prone world in which governments weaken, criminals thrive, and dangerous innovations emerge. Smart scramble, an economically depressed world in which individuals and communities develop localized makeshift solutions to a growing set of problems. They talk about a pandemic. They're talking about H1N1. The most important thing, the reason why I'm making this video, okay, here we go. This is why I'm making this video. But so much stuff is important right now. It's because I truly believe the coronavirus vaccine is giving every possible indication that it is the mark of the beast. And I also believe that if a man is telling you, no, it's not the mark of the beast, why even risk it? Why even risk it? Why? The Bible warns us that something's coming. Something's coming, and we're going to be able to scan our wrists or our forehead. And we've all heard of the RFID chip, and it's like teeny, tiny. You could put that inside of a vaccine easily. We've all heard of that. But this vaccine, it has technology in it to track us. We're going to a cashless society. People are being forced to wear masks to condition everyone of two things: being petrified of a hoax, of a disease that is not a pandemic, that is not killing the entire population of the earth. People are being conditioned. So let's look at what I'm saying here. Let's take a look at the coronavirus. All of the governments on the earth are working together for one common goal. And it's using a scary virus to make sure they achieve it. The data alone is evidence that this is an attack on the people with an agenda for everyone on the earth. We went from being locked in our homes, losing our jobs, closing our businesses, to now being able to go in public again as long as we put a mask on. These new mask rules in place are conditioning the entire population that we cannot buy or sell anything without a mask. This, in turn, is conditioning people to take the mark of the beast mentioned in Revelation. Mask of the beast is one letter away from mark of the beast. Revelation 13:16-7. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man may buy or sell, save that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So 3 things. He has to have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. The coronavirus vaccine is a biometric vaccine containing nanoparticles that can trace your every move. And I don't know if I wrote it in here, but I heard it can even tell like what you're eating, what you're drinking, every single thing that's going on in your body. And they're going to sell this as, this is a good thing. This is a good thing because, and it may not be able to do that right away, but they'll probably be able to upgrade you. You'll be like a humanoid. The vaccine will play a huge role in contact tracing. It also contains firefly luciferase. Like, just think about the name for a minute. Lucifer? The luminous material inside a firefly will also be used in the coronavirus vaccine. It has the potential to make an area of the skin glow when scanned. Think about invisible stamps at the parks that only allow you to return if they scan it under a black light. It's the same type of technology, only it's inside of us and it's permanent. If you get a biometric vaccine, they can update it. We don't know if they could automatically update it if you have to give permission. We just don't know. But look at technology today. People already have chips in their hand that unlock things. And, they can use them at vending machines. It's all about convenience. They sell it to you based on convenience. Many biometric systems are also based on fingerprints, which can be a transmission risk for the coronavirus. So Simprints is developing a touchless technology that scans the face or palm, says Chief Executive Toby Norman. Biometric digital IDs can be a game changer. They can help governments target population segments, healthcare professionals, or elderly populations, verify people who have received vaccinations or have a clear record. Digital identification systems are already used in countries linking biometric data such as fingerprints and iris scans to a unique digital code allowing for remote identification. It's already being used. They're already testing this on people. Simprints and iRespond have already developed contact tracing technology and are working along with vaccine developers, so tracking and tracing are possible. This technology is designed for disease surveillance, so we become tools for state surveillance. HR Bill 6666, the number is more than a coincidence, authorizes the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants and eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 and related activities such as contact tracing through mobile health units and necessary at individuals' residences for other purposes. Scary. Anyone that willfully takes this vaccine will be living in a virtual prison. The 5G technology will be linked to this vaccine technology, and that was the true reason for the mass installation of 5G and all the cameras that went up while we were locked in our homes. There are 2 supercomputers designed to compile our data. One is called the Beast Systems, which we already talked about. The other one's called 666, and it syncs all criminal data activity into one database. When people realize that they can go get a vaccine and never wear a mask again, or be free to play their sports, watch sports, whatever it is that they did before, go to the bar, go to church, whatever it was that they did, they're going to run to go get it. And they're going to believe that it's going to prevent them from getting COVID. So they can't wait for this vaccine. There was a woman that worked at a bar begging her governor to reopen and said she'd wear a mask or get vaccinated, just do anything to reopen. Now here, we live in a time where Satan doesn't even hide anymore and you still don't see him. The gospel is veiled to those who are perishing. The God of the world has blinded their minds. This stuff is biblical. It's right in the Bible. We live in I already said that. Coronavirus biometric IDs could be game changers for tests and vaccines. Think about it. Why are they testing healthy people? Here's where it says the face or the palm. So here are all my sources. Here's the bill. I'm going to do this in case you want to pause the video. Here's the Firefly luciferase that I talked about. Bioluminescent. You want firefly guts in your system so they can track you. Does that sound awesome? Whoops. iRespond is already protecting hundreds of thousands worldwide. Like I said, there are a lot of people that are already being tracked within this system. And look at these things. Is this a phoenix rising, I believe? Google phoenix rising. Look at the one snake. Look at who with the snake, the serpent around the staff and the 2 olive leaves. Logos alone, you'll know them by their signs and symbols if they're evil. Like what do you feel when you see this? Serpents with wings. What are you feeling? Do you feel like this is good? This is for your health? Phoenix rising out of ashes. Serpents. Does it look like a good thing? Oh, our privacy is going to be protected, though. And look how they spin it. The ability to prove one's identity is a fundamental human right. Maybe we don't want to. Look at, she's like scanning her finger. Sim prints, Corona 66. 666, Mark of the Beast, the RFID chip. We always thought it'd be a chip, a tiny little chip, but it's looking like it's this vaccine. Look at this, helpline 151666. This 999, flip it upside down, you get a 666. And people are really falling for this. So what I wanted to say is, I don't really care what a church tells you, or how many of your friends go get this vaccine and say, this isn't the mark of the beast. If there is something created that will track us, it will track us by scanning our palm or our forehead, and we can't buy or sell without it. That is the mark of the beast. Why would you get that? Why would you assume it's not? Because a church says it? Because you have people like School for Prophets saying the mark of the beast is Sunday worship? Because there's a lot of false prophets out there, a lot of people giving false information. I'm basing my case on the Bible, on my own interpretation of the Bible and what's going on with this vaccine and the numbers that they're using for the patents. I'm not taking it, and I don't care if I have to starve. I don't care if they arrest me. I don't care if they kill me. There is nothing. There's no pastor that would ever convince me that this is not the mark of the beast, and I really can't believe that's their message instead of warning people. But do you know why that's their message? That's their message because the church is the whore of Babylon. The church is going to hand us over to the beast and be like, this person's good. The Pope's going to validate the Antichrist and say that he's great, he's awesome. can't trust no man. Let God be true and every man a liar. And I hope you enjoyed this video. You can check out my page on Facebook. Here's one of them. Conspiracy Shay. This is my Facebook page, but if you go to my personal account, I've posted a lot more on there. We'll talk about this too, Jacob's tribe. Who is Jacob's tribe really, and what are those Hebrew Israelite people trying to push? Anyway, you can go to this account. Look at this. Corona is a flu virus, so there will be iterations every year. We're going to hear about COVID-20 this autumn. Don't fall for the second wave or the vaccine talk. Look at this chart right here. Look at this chart.